Rev up your engines!
Well, GM and its lack of quality control rolls on. Recall for 820,000 trucks that the tailgate may just open on its own. Now, if you watch all their advertising and horse manure they throw out to the public, oh, look at our gates. They'll tie your shoes. They'll open upside down, sideways. You can do all kinds of things with their tailgates. But they forgot one thing. The tailgates are supposed to latch and stay latched and not open, and these stupid things are opening up on their own. So if you see a GM truck down the highway, don't tailgate them, because the tailgate may fall down and whatever's in there may fly into your windshield. Now, this is 2020 to 2024 Silverados and GMC Sierras and 3,500 vehicles that have power on latching tailgates. Well, maybe they shouldn't have made power on latching, right? Because they unlatch themselves. They say, well, the rain might get on them and then they act up and they open. Okay, numero uno. Why do you need a power tailgate? You go into the tailgate anyway, so grab it and open it. Do you need it to be done power? Well, they did, and guess what? Now they're opening by themselves because the idiots couldn't make them right in the first place. If anything you know about GM vehicles, they always have electronic problems. Why would you put an electronically controlled tailgate? Well, because I guess their designer said, oh, the American public really needs a power gate there. They can't hit that little latch to open it. It has to go by power. Well, the power's breaking and the gates are opening up. And so, if you own one of these, take it in for a recall fix. They're going to have to put a new motor in it, right? Or, if you're following one on the road, pass them or let them go way in front of you. Don't get too close, because those tailgates may come popping open on you. Francesco Savanti says, Porsche denies me warranty coverage. Scotty, I'm the original owner of a 2015 Porsche Macan with only 43,000 miles. I live in Melbourne, Florida. I don't live near the ocean. The frame has multiple areas of rust, and the exhaust system has too. It's never been to the beach or off-roading. Although the vehicle has a 12-year unlimited mileage warranty on corrosion, the dealer said it's not covered because the rust is from the outside in. Only inside out is covered. Needless to say, I'm not going to buy any more German cars. But what can I do? Well, don't buy a Porsche. You said you're not going to buy another Porsche. Oh, it's rusted from the inside out. We'll pay for it. But from the outside in, what kind of horse manure is that? How do you prove where the rust came from? It's rust, right? You might have a little bit on the outside, but the inside's all rusted too. It'll rust on the inside and then it'll pop out on the outside, right? Nobody's going to cover exhaust system rust. Those are called wear and tear items because, they get real hot. They absorb water from the vapor when you turn the engine off, and they're made out of steel. Eventually, steel's going to rust because when you burn gasoline in your car, burning gasoline in Earth's atmosphere has a lot of water vapor, and it also creates water vapor when you burn it with gasoline. And then so you got a lot of water vapor inside your exhaust. They're all going to rust at some point in time, right? That they're not going to do. But the body, that's just a sleazy deal. That means their 12-year unlimited mileage warranty on rust is meaningless crap. But that's typical with Porsche dealers. Hey, it's a snob thing. And they'll sort of snub their nose at you. You're not rich enough to buy another one because this one's rusty. Now go away. We don't want you as a customer. That's basically what they're telling you. Don't buy another one. They're money pits. In the case yours is a rusted money pit. And it really doesn't matter if you don't live on the ocean. You're close enough probably in Florida. There's salt infused in the air all over Florida. And they will rust out. The German cars always rusted quite a bit. The Germans really don't care about that. I don't think they want their cars to last forever anymore. They used to, but they certainly don't anymore. 64 and free says, what truck should I buy? I'm going on a 5 to 10 year adventure. 2021 Toyota Tacoma or 2024 Nissan Frontier? Well, I definitely go for the 2021 Toyota Tacoma. I said, you're going on a 5 to 10 year adventure. They very rarely ever break down. And it is 2021. Some of the newer ones, they're going to turbos and stuff, but I'm sure that one's not a turbo. I would definitely go for the Toyota versus a brand new Nissan Frontier. Because one, you're going on a 5 to 10 year adventure. I would not buy a new vehicle and start out with that. You don't know if that vehicle has any problems that year, if it wasn't built correctly. A 21 Toyota Tacoma is 3 years old, so anything that went wrong, it would have shown up by now. You can scan it, have a mechanic like me check it out before you buy it. And he says, it's a great vehicle? Yeah. You can't trust anybody. Could have been wrecked, flooded, stolen. So you pay a guy like me with a fancy scan tool, and we can tell you in half an hour what shape it's in. And we'll probably end up saying it's great. But if it was wrecked, flooded, it might have a bunch of codes, and you wouldn't buy the thing. But overall, that would be the best one to buy. Check this fantasy out, okay? That's a picture of new futuristic technology for public transportation. Now, the Arabs are working on this thing, right? And it's like the Jetsons. It's total fantasy. You got these little pods and people are riding around the city and they say the system will allegedly cost just 20% of a traditional metro system, due in savings from energy that can be generated from the sun. What a lot of horse manure, right? Okay. So you got these tiny little pods people are riding in, like something in the Jetsons, right? They're called rail pods. Now, why on earth would you go from having something like a subway or a train that holds a whole bunch of people to ones that only hold a few? Right away, it's going to cost you a ton more to make individual vehicles that can propel themselves, right? What idiot thought of this one is beyond me. And then here's the hilarious thing. It's estimated that between 1,000 and 16,000 passengers can be served by the system each day. Like I say, a train with a bunch of people carries a lot. These carry a few people in the pods, right? They say what? 1,000 to 16,000 passengers a day. Okay, in New York City itself during the weekdays, an average of 5 million people ride the subways each day, right? 5 million people each day, right? And these clowns are talking about 1,000 to 16,000 a day. You can't go from mass transportation of buses that hold a bunch of people, subway cars, trains that hold a bunch of people, to little pods that hold a few amount of people. Yeah, it sounds great. You have your own personal little pod, right? But it doesn't make any sense for mass transportation. Do these idiots even understand what mass stands for? Mass, large amounts, not a couple people or 8 people or whatever that fit in a little pod, right? The whole thing is absurd. And the idea that they even tout this as being the future of transportation, of mass transportation, is totally absurd. It just amazes me. Do any of these people even have anybody who thinks of what the overall picture of anything is? But finally, somebody's come up with the idea of, gee, let's use thermal heat. There's a startup that's revitalizing 140-year-old tech to make energy for islands out in the middle of nowhere using the differential temperature of water that's on the top and water that's lower that's colder. So instead of having to use diesel generators and all that diesel fuel, they're planning on putting these things out. Only makes sense, right? Now, this 140-year-old technology is called OTEC, which stands for Ocean Thermal Energy Conversion. And here's how it works. The warm surface waters are transformed into a hot vapor that powers a turbine, while deeper cold waters enable the vapor to turn back into a liquid again so it can repeat itself in a circular. It's just like the air conditioner in your car. Has a liquid, right? And then that's sprayed out into a gas, and then that makes it cold, and then that gas goes back down into your condenser with the air blowing through it to cool it down. And in this case, for the car, it's creating cold air. In the case of these power generators, it's creating electricity, where the hot vapor runs a turbine. So, like I say, this is nonsense about, oh, well, when the wind's blowing, oh, when the sun's shining, the water temperature is always different. The top is warmer. The bottom is colder. They can get these things to work. Hey, it's a breakthrough, especially for these small islands. I mean, I've been to the British Virgin Islands. Everything's running there on diesel generators and stuff. It's a tremendous waste of energy. They can use the water temperature in the ocean. Hey, why not? Makes a lot of sense to me. Well, here's the end of some history. That old Packard plant in Detroit, they're finally tearing the thing down. If you've seen a lot of those abandoned building videos on YouTube and stuff, the Packard plant is this huge area that was abandoned, and it was abandoned not recently, 70 years ago. It's been sitting there rotting on the outskirts of Detroit for 70 years. Now, of course, with the Biden infrastructure, they've thrown money at everything. They're using $26 million just to demolish what's left, right? I could have found guys to do it cheaper, right? But, of course, this is government money, so there's corruption all over the place. Now, of course, the mayor of Detroit, Mr. Hot Air Balloon himself, says the city will rehab the site for a new automotive factory in the next 2 years. We're having bids, and we're hoping for an auto supplier. Hope all you want. A lot of the manufacturing has left Detroit, and it's not coming back, people. Our taxpayer dollars, this is federal money, so it's all our money. $26 million went to tearing it down, then they'll have an empty field. We'll see what actually actually is built, Detroit has promised many things that have never come to fruition. And building another auto factory sounds like fantasy to me. But of course, it's government money being wasted tearing down the old plant that's been sitting there for 70 years. And they say, oh, we're going to have new things built there. All I got to say is, yeah, let's not hold our breaths and think another new automotive future is going to be built in Detroit, because guess what? It's not going to happen. That was the past. The past is gone. International dynamics have changed, and it'll probably be an empty field for God knows how long. And $26 million of our taxpayer money will have been wasted to turn it from the end of the Packard factory that's been sitting for 70 years rotting to an empty field. Fly into Detroit Airport one day and look around. You see a lot of empty fields there. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.